Hi, this is Josh from Shamma Sandals, and today we are doing Shamma Sandals versus Tevas. So I bought a couple pairs of Tevas here to compare and contrast with. These are men's Hurricane XLT. I bought these at a local outdoor store, and it looked like a pretty basic Teva model. There's more expensive ones, but I thought this would be, adequate for a comparison. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to compare this size 8 Teva men's Hurricane XLT2 to a Shamma Mountain Goat. Now, we did change things when we launched the new lacing system. So this is like Shamma with Ultra Grip. Now, just Ultra Grip is standard on a Mountain Goat, and if you want leather, you got to get the LE, okay, leather edition. So, but I thought this would be a good comparison because both of these have sort of a, let's go ahead and take this foot form out of here. Both of these have a sort of a non-slip. They're designed to deal with water, like they'd both be suitable for like all weather type situations. There's no leather or anything on this, so we'll compare the two. Anyways, we're just gonna walk through this thing and I'll give you my thoughts on it. So for starters, the biggest thing is they're just bigger. So this is a size 8 and this is a size 8. And there's just a vast difference like in approach and design. And I want to start with the sole. The sole is kind of the most obvious thing, but one of the things about a lot of what I'll call like modern or conventional footwear is there is this need, it seems, to put a giant heel on everything. So that's the first thing. It's a giant heel to toe drop. The problem I have with that right off the bat is that that's going to change your alignment. I use this analogy a lot. Imagine if you've ever had your car front tires aligned. When you have that done and they're like, well, your tire's out a 1/16 of an inch, which is, tiny, then you're burning up your tires and you can't drive properly. Well, imagine if you have a drop that's not just a 1/16 of an inch, but 3/4 of an inch, and you have something way more important than your car tires at stake. You have your body's actual physiological alignment. So this is way more important. I do want to say I do like the tread here. It's nice and aggressive. I think this would, I don't want to just bag on these things. I'm trying to honestly kind of look at them. The tread's nice and aggressive. There's big, deep grooves. It feels nice and sticky. It doesn't feel cheap. So that part's nice. Take a look at this. If you look at the shape of this one, it's pulling your foot. It wants your foot to be more squeezed together, like your big toe and your front toes kind of like jammed together like that. That's one of the things we really tried to address in this latest iteration of our sandals. We built we designed it for more room in the big toe and to let your foot really splay out. Your toes need to splay. That's how your foot would be if it wasn't in a shoe. So one of the problems with this design, actually this is going to be a big talking point for me here, is going back to the laces now. A lot of people have asked us for years now, well, why don't you have an over the toe, over the foot style of laces? So that's what this has right here. Our straps are a thong style. I think that a thong style is actually superior or more suitable for your anatomy because this is less invasive when it's between your toes. People think that, well, it's between your toes, it's gonna rub or whatever. That's actually not the case because when the lacing system is adjusted properly, your sandals don't move around a bunch. So it's not gonna be sawing on anything. But the point is that this style lets your foot splay and sort of set down and relax naturally. Your big toe can just kind of do whatever it wants to do and your foot spreads out. So if you look at the two, this one, when you tighten this up, watch, it's going to constrict from the outside of the foot and pull your foot together. And what is really going to happen is your foot is more likely to cup. I've really noticed this once I got into minimalist footwear. When I would go back to like a regular shoe on occasion, I'd feel my foot kind of squeeze together and I would strain, and I call it like cupping. Your foot needs to find somewhere to go if it can't splay, which is what it wants to do. And so when it squishes together, it'll like make room by raising up underneath and kind of cupping a little bit. That's one thing I've seen. Or if nothing else, it's just squishing your foot, making your foot conform to a shape it wouldn't naturally want to be in, which I think is bad. The design and function of the human foot is perfect on its own, and we don't really want to mess with it. We want to complement it rather than try and correct it. The next thing is just some details. The first thing that really struck me about these straps is how big they are. These are like a full inch wide. There are big pieces of hardware here. This triangle piece it's probably 1.25 inches in length, and it's probably by 1 inch wide, and it gets down to this narrower point here. You got this other triangular piece here, here, and here. The material itself is soft enough, not super soft, but you know, it's probably not going to irritate you. And then they've actually, in the heel strap, this is kind of a nice feature. They put some softer material on the heel where it's going to make contact with your Achilles tendon, which I think that's a good move, but altogether not super comfy. I wouldn't want to do anything more than like do some hiking or some walking. Let's move on to the footbed. It's some sort of like an EVA type foam that they've molded, and they put a little bit of this like this grippy material. I don't know if, can we get in close there? Can you see that, Christian? All right, so it's kind of like a raised, grippy type of pattern. And there's a few lines here and there. There's a line there and some different lines, but mostly I think that's aesthetics is what you've got there. And I wanna show you the Shamma grip top, or Ultra Grip is what we call it. And so we have this stuff made for us at this company called Tough Tech. Think of this as like a car tire, and your foot is the road. And basically the material by itself is an anti-slip material. So it's not an EVA or anything like that that's been molded. The material itself, Tough Tech, is designed to be anti-slip. And then we had this custom pattern built. And the pattern basically is like a car tire. It gives you a large, what I want to call contact patch. It's a diamond shape so that basically any direction the water or dirt is going to push out, and it gives it a somewhere to go with each step. And then we finally also, we had it micro perforated for, it can actually absorb a little bit of foot sweat. Not a ton, but a little bit. All right, so when you look at the idea behind these two, like if you look at the side here, this rim around the sandal is basic on the inside of the footbed, can be up to almost 1/4 inch tall here in the middle section, and it's probably about raised by 1/8 inch down here at the end. But that means all that water and dirt and mud are just gonna sit in the sandal. So if you step in it, you're gonna have to wash it out. It's not just gonna push out on its own. One of my favorite things about the Ultra Grip footbed is when I'd go on a big run, or I'd get muddy or whatever, and or you run through water, you can feel the water at first, like maybe for a split second, but especially going through a puddle, you hit that puddle and the footstep actually pushes in to this and pushes out. So your foot is almost like a little pump. It's kind of cool. It's one of the things that I really like about the grip top. Okay, so more on this. Like I started with the word big, and the straps are not only wide, they're really thick. That's really, really thick. If you look at our straps, just from a side by side, these are so much thinner. And the way we got them so thin is we did hook and loop, and then we've actually doubled up this ultra suede. And here's the beauty of that. It makes them thinner and more pliable, more flexible. I mean, these are still, they're flexible, but this is definitely oriented towards movement and high speed movement. One thing we've tried to do is cut down on anything extra wherever we could. So with our Elite lacing system, we really don't want anything extra. This is all molded. We've got adjustment zones. It's a little bit different setup, but we have enough adjustment so you can adjust everything on this sandal. You can do the same thing here. Well, actually, you can't adjust this section from the front to the back. And here on the Shammas, our toe plug strap, or the buckle, can move anywhere on this axis, and you can tighten up this strap in any direction. So that's really cool. You can also move the strap from side to side, so it's a lot of pluses there. Let's do this actually. So I just want you to show you the weight. All right, so here's the Teva, and this is a size 8, 9.9 ounces. So it's a little, what I want to say, lighter than I thought it would be, but it's still about 10 ounces. We'll round up 10 ounces a sandal. And then let's look at the Shamma. 5.6 ounces. So, you know, approximately almost, so basically like 4.5 ounces lighter per sandal, which is actually quite a bit. You're gonna actually notice that it's almost double. So this is like almost half the weight. And then I actually bought, because I wanted to give you my real reaction to it, I bought a size 13. I have a huge foot, okay? Let it be known. I don't know how much does a size 13 weigh. It's kind of interesting. 12.5 ounces. I've got a pair of, oh yeah, sorry, 12.5 ounces. And then I've got a pair of old goats with a power strap on it. 7.9, and this is a size 14 Shamma. They didn't have a size 14 in the Tevas. So, all right, so I'm gonna put them on, and I want to give you my reactions to it, because I don't wear stuff like this ever anymore. I haven't in years. Okay, so, oh, I feel like I'm turning into a dad too. Even though I have 4 kids, this is making me a real dad. So it's going on the top of the foot and the back. All right, pretty easy, pretty cool. I'm just go get in my minivan now. Honey, is the minivan loaded? We're going to the beach. So this is really easy to put on. I will say, I'll give them that. It's pretty easy to put on, pretty easy to adjust. So here's my feeling right off the bat. It's weird because it's kind of got, I'm not used to kind of having that forward lean a little bit. It's kind of throwing my balance off a little bit. I'm just not used to it. I don't like the feeling on the outside of the foot, the way it's pulling from side to side, but probably the biggest thing that I'm noticing, it's just how squishy it is. So that's one of the things, that the soling material on these Tevas is, it's really squishy. It feels really bouncy. Okay, let me see. Just running around the workshop. See how this feels. It feels okay. Feels okay, it just doesn't feel very responsive. There's an arch there. I'm not used to the arch support. I haven't had arch support for like almost 10 years. I think the big thing is I just don't feel as connected as I normally would. And the last thing I'll say is this. The material on the straps is a lot harsher than the material we use. Like I was mentioning, we use this stuff, it's called Ultra Suede. And this stuff is really expensive, and it's very, very soft, very soft. And I can tell you that this stuff, I can already feel it on the tops. I can feel it on the tops of my feet, right here. I don't like that feeling, and I've only had it for a couple minutes, but it's kind of grating on it. I don't want to say just bad things about them. I want to talk about the strengths, but as far as the strengths go, I would say they do stay. I can feel that they're easy to adjust. They hold on to your foot well. I don't like how they hold on to my foot. I don't like kind of the roughness of the straps, but you know, if you needed to go creek walking and you wanted something that was gonna stay on your foot, yeah, this would stay on your foot. And if you wanted to, I think it has some advantages there. Maybe not versus the Shamma, but over like a regular flip-flop or something like that. It's got some cool stuff about it. So that's it, I guess. Shamma Mountain Goats with elite lacing. Here, one more time. Look at that. This is ultra suede lined on the inside, all ultra suede, nicely stitched. This is really comfy. The whole thing is super comfy, and basically it gets out of the way of your foot, you know, when you're running. So this is going to give you, you know, virtually as much protection. It's going to be more responsive. It's got a little give, but it's not super squishy like this. And you got the tread. So I think you got to give it to the Shammas in this case. Anyways, hope you enjoyed that. Shamma Sandals versus Teva, what was it? The Teva Hurricane XLT2. So until next time, this is Josh from Shamma Sandals. Happy trails. Thanks for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, hit the like button, leave a comment, and subscribe to our channel for more weekly content. And make sure to click the bell so that you'll be notified every time we post something new.